Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Lecture Notes. So today I'll be explaining a partition novel Basti which is written by Intizar Hussain, and in this particular video I'll be explaining chapter 11. So in the last chapter, chapter 10, we saw that Zakir's father, that is Abu Jan, has passed away and Afzal's grandmother has also passed away. So while his time was near, he gave Zakir keys of the house in Roopnagar, and after he passed away, Zakir doesn't know what to do with it, and therefore the keys are placed where he had Zakir's Abu had left. So he hasn't found a perfect place for the keys, and he doesn't know what to do with them also. So while he is thinking about the keys, he says, "The keys are here with me, and there a whole time is locked up. A time that has passed, but time doesn't pass. It keeps passing, but it doesn't pass. It keeps hovering around, and houses never stay empty." So he's saying that at the time of war, though many years have passed, but he is still stuck in the time. For him, time has not passed because at the time of war every single minute seemed to be like years. So though years have passed, that they have centuries have been passed, that they have come to the new Pakistan, but still he feels that the place is still empty, and he know that the house now has been occupied by someone else, and there is no point of carrying those keys, but still it is a close memory of his childhood and his motherland. uh, then he has a vision where he sees Sabira, where she says, "Zakir, make me a grave too. Why should I? Make it yourself." Sabira scraps the moist dirt together and piles it around her white foot, and when she pulls her foot out, the mold with its hollow stays its place. "Zakir, my grave is better than yours." So, according to the interpretation of these four lines, according to me, when she says, "Zakir, my grave is better than yours," clearly implying that now my life is better than yours, because she is living on her own terms in India alone. She is doing her own job, though she is worried about her mother, but still she shows a woman who stood for herself at the time where she was living alone, a Muslim girl living alone at the time of partition in India. While on the other hand, Zakir is shown to be confused, and his friends also sometimes remark that you are not doing anything for your country. And he is all, what he does every day is he walked towards Shiraz because the college have been closed. So that remark, "Zakir, my grave is better than yours," shows that how Zakir is now feeling, that how Sabira is happy or at peace in her life, while he is the one who's tormented right now. So he's thinking, and he's just ready. Zakir is just thinking about this, and he's getting ready to go out when Zakir's mother say, "Zakir, son, have you heard the son of a woman who runs the bakery has been shot?" Shot how? So clearly the turmoil, the violence has been upgraded, and the innocent people are losing their life without any cause. And the other day, she says, "Oh, Zakir, have you heard? They have been setting fires." Ammi said in a terrified voice the moment she entered the room. "Fires?" So again, you will see the escalation of the devastation that is present at the time of these partition. That how people show inhuman trait and are destroying property, people, feelings, everything they can think of. So Zakir, on that day, he doesn't go to Shiraz. The first thing he says that I want to go to my father's grave. So he says the sound of footsteps only comes when a funeral procession sets out from one of the houses. After that, more silences, which grows even deeper. So clearly, the market is not set up. The colleges are not open. There is such amount of curfew that the people only step out of the house only when someone dies in the house. So clearly, the atmosphere present in that era and in that place is very much devastating, where the people cannot think of leaving their house or stepping out of their house. So he is stepping out of his house and he says, Abba Jan's grave has subsided. I'm going to the cemetery to see to it. Ammi, hearing these, wavered, but then she said, Son, you could do it tomorrow instead. Tomorrow? Ammi, you have a lot of faith in tomorrow. He looked hard at his mother. Tomorrow might be even worse than today. So clearly, after hearing all that there have been fire set up, the innocent people have been shot, he says that I don't hope or feel that there will be a better tomorrow. So what is present right now and today I need to do whatever work is left. So he has decided to go out in such a turmoil, and Ammi Jan is very much terrified after hearing this, because this is not the right time, because people are on the roads destroying property and killing each other without any real reason. So, emerging from the zone of silence, he entered the zone of noise. Clearly, when he went outside, there was complete silence because of the curfew. Nobody was setting out. And as soon as he entered the main road, he saw a lot of noise. Somewhere near, slogans were being shouted and smoke was rising. While he was walking, the only thought in his mind was how Surinder could have called him cruel. Then he saw tense faces, bloodshot eyes, necks with swollen veins, slogans and abuse on their lips. So the only thought in his mind was how Surinder, his childhood friend, could call him cruel because of Savira. And then he saw a group of people, a whole crowd who had so much anger on their face, and they were not only shouting slogans, they were cursing others. Someone familiar told him that near the cemetery in that red building there is a police post and they are going to raid it and burn it. A familiar person told him, so he started changing way to reach his destination, that is cemetery. But he was stuck in the storm of people that he could not detach himself from the crowd. So he was not part of the crowd, but there was so much crowd that he could not change his ways, and he turned out to be the part of crowd. And after a while, there were bullets and bricks firing, and he could not do anything. After a while, he found himself lying under the cemetery gate. He rushed towards his father's grave and still could hear the gun firing and yelling of slogans. And then there was fire. So much smoke in the cemetery also that it was hard to breathe and see. So clearly, you can see the physical conditions, that how people are surviving at that point of era, where stepping out of the house was so much pain, where you could see so much bloodshed, firing, and you don't know that the next bullet is fired can be on you also. So while he was sitting beside the grave, he had another vision where he saw the Buddha, who said, in dense forest lived a tiger. Springtime, the night of the full moon, the tiger and his cub were enjoying themselves in the forest. One time he roared so loudly that the whole forest echoed. Hearing his roar, the jackals too shook themselves. They began howling and waiting at the top of their voices. For a long time, they kept howling and wailing. They aroused the whole forest, but the tiger remained silent. His cub said, "Oh, my father, you so brave, the king of the forest. It's surprising that the jackals are making so much noise, and you are silent." The tiger replied, "Oh, my son, keep one word of your father's close to your heart. When jackals speak, the tigers fall silent." And then the Buddha said, when the wise will fail silent and shoelaces will speak. So here, in his vision, first of all, Buddha is an image of peace. So clearly, Zakir is so much desperate for peace that in his earlier vision in chapter 10th, he said Om Shanti Shanti. That is the invoice for peace to God. And now there is Buddha. So clearly he really wants peace to be present around him. And then the story of how the tiger doesn't speak when the um, fox are howling shows that how a wise man doesn't utter a word when he knows that he's surrounded by the stupid people. So how a wise man prefers silence over wasting time and energy upon people who doesn't have mind. So while Zakir was sitting beside the grave, he saw Afzal near his grandmother's grave, and Afzal said that he lost all his strength after the grandmother passed away. So clearly, they both are having or sharing a similar kind of bond because both of them have lost a closed one, and it is both of them are feeling the same thing, that they are unable to cope up with the loss of their loved ones when they died. So they moved towards the Shiraz, and what they saw was the Shiraz was closed, but not merely in an ordinary way. All the glasses panes in its door had been smashed. Its door and walls were covered with soot. The signboard that had hung in front of it had been burned and lay on the ground right before the door. There were so many bricks scattered around that they could be seen inside as well as outside. So what did they see? That Shiraz was completely destroyed by the mob, and the doors, the bricks, everything was so much broken. Already Zakir was facing loss of his father, and now he was seeing that the one favorite place, the place where he used to went every day and used to provide him a bit of peace with his friends, which made him which provided him a supporting place, is destroyed now. And they both were utterly shattered, that a place which was only providing them comfort is now destroyed without any reason, without any cause. So they both sat near the pavement and saw Ifan coming. Motionless and speechless, they were sitting for a while when Zakir finally uttered that he wants to write a letter to Sabira. After hearing this, both were astonished and asked why. So, first of all, Zakir was in a very sad situation where he was losing everything that was close to him, and in such a situation, what he thought was Sabira, that uh, now he wants to write a letter to Sabira. And both of his friends, whether it was Afzal or Ifan, they were both bewildered and in a confused state of mind that why he wants to write a letter now. So clearly, Zakir does find comfort in Sabira. He has lost all the comfort, whether it is a person or a place, he has lost both the things. So now he has finally resorted to write Sabira, and his friends ask why and by now. To which Zakir replied, I want to write before the parting of her fills with silver and the birds fall silent, and before the keys rust and the doors of the street are shut, and before the silver cord is loosed and the golden bowl is shattered and the pitcher is broken at the wall. So fills the silver, that before she is too old or either of one dies and the birds fall silent, that before the earth or before the earth comes to an end or before their lives comes to an end, he should write a letter to her. So this is the end where Zakir has lost his father, as well as the place he loved the most, cherished the most, and now he is in a devastated condition and is thinking to write a letter to Sabira. So clearly, Intizar Hussain has ended the book in an open ending, where the readers doesn't come to know whether the Khwaja Jan's son has come back or not, or whether what happens with Zakir as well as Sabira. So thank you for watching this video. Do like and subscribe my channel.